Hey everyone, welcome to the Walk to Wealth podcast. If you're tuning in on YouTube or any of the podcast directories, make sure to hit that follow button and subscribe because I'm going to be bringing out heat all 2023. This is my year, man. We're going to be taking off, so you don't want to miss an episode. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you can keep on hearing amazing guests like the one I have on today right now. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Nikki, for anyone that may not know you, tell us your elevator pitch. Who are you and what do you do?
Brother John, it's an honor to be here, man. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I am Nicky B, a.k.a. Nicky Bilou. And what I do is I'm a champion for the entrepreneur. I am a believer in the heart and soul of the good men and women who, because of their courage to dream, drive our society forward, right? The crazy ones, the misfits, the visionaries. These are the people that are not fond of rules, but they drive the human race forward. Okay. And those are the people I serve. I help them add 1 to 2 zeros to their annual income while working 10 to 20 hours less a week. That's who I am. That's what I do.
Amazing, Nikki. And I think a great place to start, just for a little bit of context, we want to know a little bit more about the real Nikki. Let's go back in the time machine. Let's flash back to when you were growing up, right? Take us back to your childhood. What was money like around there? You're helping a lot of entrepreneurs now. Was that something that you were when you were younger? Were you always a born entrepreneur? Like, what was it like in your childhood?
Well, see, I actually am originally an immigrant to Canada from Iran. I'm a Christian from Iran. And, I grew up around a father who was an entrepreneur. He owned businesses and he was a special man. He was a man who made money and uplifted people. And my mom, she was a nurse, and then she managed a bookstore at the American Community School in Tehran. And when I was 11 years old, my whole world got upended because the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran. It's a world-changing event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my father, my late father, because he's passed on now, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall. Things were going to change and not for the better. It was not going to be a great place for him to raise his Christian family. So Dad made a plan, and eventually he got us out of Iran. Now, it took a while from start to finish. It didn't happen overnight. I was 11 years old when the revolution started. I was just shy of 15 when we landed in Canada. And at the time, it was devastating for me. I mean, here I was, a young boy. I had been ripped away from the home that I knew, the people that I knew, and I was lost. I was scared. I didn't know what was what, But looking back, thank God for my father and his foresight. He got us out of tyranny and he brought us to freedom, man. People that are born here, they don't know how good they got it. They don't know how good they got it. I'm not saying it's perfect here, but so many crazy people go around, oh my God, America, racist, sexist, oppressive. Are you out of your freaking mind? This is the most tolerant, free place on earth. This is it. This is the pinnacle. This is like the gold medal of countries. This, like, you won the lottery to be born here, and people are saying crap like that. They don't know what they're talking about. Let me take them to Iran. Open your mouth the way you are over here, and I'll watch while they grab you, beat you half to death, throw you in a deep, dark hole from which you'll never emerge. That is what it's like in the rest of the world. A young girl in Iran, 22 years old, 5.5 months ago, was beaten to death for walking outdoors without a headscarf. You think about that. You think about that, John, for 1 minute. You're a woman, you go outside, your hair's not covered, you're beaten to death. Like, think about that. And a couple engaged were dancing in the streets. They're arrested by police. They're given a fake trial, 10.5 years in prison for dancing outside because women are not allowed to dance with men. Think about that.
Sheesh.
Sheesh is right, bro. That's what the world is like. So we should all be grateful that we get to live here. Thank God for our founding fathers, for freedom, for the Constitution, right? For all those things that so many people take for granted and crap upon and say, oh, this is nothing. This is everything. We're lucky. And so, me, I became a champion for freedom, right? Champion for freedom. And I wanted to grow up to be an entrepreneur because of my father. My father was an uplifter of humanity. If you met my dad and you became friends with him, and let's say you were looking for work, Dad would find you a job. I don't mean just kind of sort of like, no. Dad would pick up the phone. He'd call his buddies and go, yo, you hiring? You need somebody? I need to know if you're hiring. And if someone said, yeah, I'm hiring, he'd say, you're hiring this fellow. I'm sending him over. Hire him. That's, I don't want to hear it. Just do it. Right? Like that's how he talked to his friends. Right? Right. And if he had a job for you, you'd give it to himself. Right. But if you were trying to start a business, he would set you up. He'd sit down with you, talk to you, bring you advisors, even help you find capital. And if you knew him and you were trying to buy a car, a house, an apartment, and you didn't quite have enough money, he'd top you up. So you could buy that car, that house, that apartment.
That's amazing.
Think about that. John, who does that, man?
That's really amazing.
Who does that? Right? My dad did that. And to this day, people come to me and they say to me, Nicky, your dad, you don't know me, but your dad did this for me, did that for me, did the other for me. And they would just tell me stories and make me cry, like just like what he did and what he meant to them. And they would shake my hand and they'd say, it's an honor to meet Napoleon Bilou's son. And I'm like, I'm nobody, man. That was my dad. That wasn't me. But like, it was unreal, man. And, you know, I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be somebody people looked up to. I wanted to be a helper of humanity. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It took me a while. I mean, I did corporate jobs and things like that, but eventually I became an entrepreneur. And when I became an entrepreneur, I got into the helping professions. I provided services to people. And eventually I worked with top level CEOs as a fitness coach. I was the shit, man. Like I would help these dudes. I'd go around the country and I'd speak about this. I mean, it was where it was at for me. And then when that ran its course, I got into helping people on business, mindset, success, winning. That got me real excited.
Yeah.
And so I eventually started to help people. And I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that are getting started. They're under $1 million in sales. Many of them they're good people, but they have not figured it out. They don't understand business. They don't understand marketing, sales, hiring, firing, culture, income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, accounting, financial processes, systems, customer service, culture building. I don't get any of this stuff. Exiting a company. When should I exit a company? Should I exit a company? All that jazz. They didn't get it. And me, I got all that. I was from a business family. I understand all of that. And on top of that, I went to school for it. And I'm a very cerebral, intellectual man. You know, I've read 4,000 books, bro. Look at this. This my actual bookshelves. There's like a couple thousand books around me right here. I got a bunch of books right here on my table right now. I'm just this is me surrounded by knowledge and by inspiration. And so I started to like work with these folks, and I found out that their biggest problem was marketing and sales.
Yeah, so you mentioned a bunch of amazing points in your story, man. And it wasn't until for me once I went to the Dominican Republic for the first time. I left the country in 2019, and just like this is 2019, and I would have to get water from the bucket and pour it into the toilet just so the toilet can flush. It's like, man, this is only a few years back. This is only 4 years back, and the plumbing wasn't even up to date. And so it's like, and I heard this one podcast on. I'm sure you're familiar with Jordan Peterson.
Absolutely.
So he had this one chick from North Korea who talked about her story escaping North Korea, and it was insane. And like that day, it hit me like, man, most people here got first world problems, man. We don't deal with nothing over here in this country for the most part. It's almost scary and to think about what other people in other places deal with and what they're put through. And then for the people, and Jordan Peterson also got a good thing, like make your room, right? So many people can't even handle the problems in their inner circle and are trying to tackle these world views and world points that they don't have no actual experience on, and they might have just heard a news article and now they're justice warriors. So it's like, the thought behind it is good, but it's like in all reality, these people are very naive to what
they got too much time on their hands, bro.
Yeah,
they don't have to really work. They don't have to suffer and struggle to win. They just got too much time on their hands. Like, oh yeah, this is so terrible. I'm like, shut up, dude. Shut up. I don't want to hear you speak, because when you speak, you make the world dumber. You know what I mean? You make everybody else dumber. So shut up is what I tell them. And
Yeah.
I look to get to people that don't yet know they're malleable. Their brains are not fully formed or adjusted to these things. I'm looking to help those people understand how
Yeah.
good we have it here,
And
how
that's
amazing it is. And listen, people get into business, like I said, they don't understand all these things, right? So I go to them and I go, okay, we're going to help you understand business, but most especially you got to understand sales and marketing, because if you're not selling, you're not marketing, you don't have a business, your business is going to trash. And all these people go, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be salesy, reek of commission breath. You want to buy? Buy. No, man, nobody wants that. I go, all right. Problem is, though, that word sales gets in the way. It sticks in their craw. They can't get past it. So they don't do business that they should be doing. People they
yeah.
should be working with don't work with them. And then these people that should be working with them don't get their help. So, their problems stay there. And some dude who's like a charlatan marketer, he's one of those dudes who doesn't care. He's going to sell you something, doesn't care if he delivers or not. He sells them, nothing happens, and it's over. It's over. You know what I'm talking about. It's over. They're done.
Yeah.
Right. And from my perspective, that's terrible. So I would go to these guys and gals and I'd go, I'm going to help you reframe your thinking. So I put together a program. I'm going to change your mindset. You're going to have a bulletproof champion level mindset. And I want to show you how you can win. And we're going to reframe selling to serving. Selling to serving? Yep. Selling to serving.
Yeah.
How cool is that, bro? Selling to serving.
It's a concept that is very counterintuitive to most, because most people had these negative connotations that they were kind of brought up with around sales and helping people. And it's I was very fortunate to get into when I got into the entrepreneurship space. Not too long after, I found like my tribe, and that was when I was in real estate. So I'm not really focused on real estate anymore. Everyone on the podcast knows that, but like I'm still pretty active in that tribe just because the people there, it's all about coming from contribution. How could we help? What could I help you out with? How could I be of value, be of service, how could I help you get to that next level? And it's having that servant's heart and that servant leadership that really gets you to that next level, but then also knowing what you're worth as well. And it's like the combination of the two. It definitely it's been something that I've been trying to figure out. And like I still remember I taught my first social media class, and it's like people wanted to pay me for it after the class because they found it valuable, but I didn't even feel okay just receiving the money, right? So it's like, as you said, like a lot of this stuff is like it's not taught. And if you're not someone that was kind of born in a business minded family, or born into having a mentor earlier on in life, a lot of these things are just limiting beliefs and blockers that we kind of have deep inside, that we have to like constantly work on to like so that we can start excelling and succeeding in this entrepreneurship space, which doesn't really have, from once you're in, there's blueprints everywhere. But like the blueprint to get in when you have no entrepreneurial experience, it's like, where on earth do I even start? And most people try to seek a course when in all reality they need to seek, within themselves to figure out what's going on in there before they can even start the journey of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Got to. I see. I learned this from T. Harv Eker. I'm a generous giver and an excellent receiver. There you go. So people reframed selling to serving. It takes time to rewire their brains, but once they did that, it made it easier for them to get business. So that's how I help people double, triple, quadruple their business.
yeah.
Right. And then the next thing was they sucked at clearly positioning themselves.
Yeah.
What do you do? Well, I'm a coach. Okay. What kind of coach? Well, I can help you with relationships, with business, with health. No. Narrow down. And I had you can't be stuck in the sea of sameness. You need to be in the oasis of differentiation, right?
Yeah.
You got to have a clear message. So is it better to be a coach, or is it better to be someone who works with lawyers who own their own firms without a partner and helps them scale? Obviously, the latter's better. Is it better to be someone who works with restaurants, or to be someone who works with sushi restaurants in Austin, Texas? You know what I'm talking about? Like, the more narrow your niche and your focus, the better, right?
Yeah.
So I worked with a fellow, okay, good guy, fitness guy, comes to me and his business sucks. He has 7 clients. He's making $1,200 a month. Like, it's brutal. And I go to him and I go, okay, man, his name's Dan. I go, Danny, Danny boy, Danny boy, our song. So Danny, how do you help people? I help anybody. What? I help anybody. I can do anything. Lose weight, get fit, get strong, win contests. I can do it all. No, Danny, that doesn't work. You gotta narrow your focus. No. I can help anybody. Anybody with a wallet and a pulse, right? Oh my God. He's like, aha, it's so funny. I guess so. I'm like, no, buddy, no, narrow. He goes, okay. Doctors. I want to work with doctors. Why? My dad's a doctor. Okay. Doctors make a lot of money. No. It can't be about money. My dad used to say, it's not about the money, it's about the people. Business is about people. You solve problems for people. That's business. For profit, but solve problems for people. Now, Danny, I'm doing it. Didn't work. Danny, we got to change around. Okay. What do you want me to do? Narrow your focus, Danny. Narrow your focus. Okay, cardiologists. Why cardiologists? They make more money than doctors. Oh my God. Oh, Danny, that's not gonna work. No. I'm doing it. No. Oh my God. All right, he does it. No results. All of a sudden, God gives him a man who is a Paralympian athlete. And this man, his name is Papito Wilson, African-Cuban fella. Him and Danny, they got along. They hit it off. They worked out. He got him ready for contests, and he won medals at competitions. You better say Papito properly. You can't go Papito. Papito. He didn't like it. So, anyways, Danny comes to me and he goes, Nicky, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. He said, I've been going after the money instead of helping people. I go, yeah, you have. He goes, okay, I got to change that. I think I want to work with people with missing limbs, Nicky. Missing limbs? Yeah, I think so. That's a great idea. Danny, go do that. And so Danny went ahead and did that. And he was helping people. And in 6 weeks, John, he signed up 400 clients. From 7 to 400, from 1,200 a month to 100,000 a month. Not a year, a month. And he's a fitness trainer. Fitness trainers don't make that kind of money in a year, never mind a month. You know what I'm saying? But Danny did. Why? Well, first of all, he stopped going after the money. Second of all, he had me to help him get his focus in the right place.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but people with missing limbs. And thirdly, nobody else was going after that market. It was a virgin market, bro. He was the first, right, to sample that market. Everybody else thought they can't work out. They don't have limbs. Danny knew better. And these people, put yourself in the shoes of an individual with a missing limb or more than one missing limb. Would you agree with me they would rather have all their limbs than have a missing limb? Would you agree with me?
100%.
Would you agree with me that they probably feel that there are some things at least that they can't do? They have a limiting belief over what's possible physically for them because of the missing limb. Would you agree
100%.
with that?
Yeah.
You know what Danny's message was? You can do anything anyone else can do. You can do anything anybody else can do. You can get fit. You can be strong. You can have self-respect. You can look in the mirror and know that you're strong, you're powerful, and this shit doesn't mean nothing. Can you imagine that message, how it landed?
Yeah.
Just put yourself in those shoes, man. So, John, imagine someone's telling you you're a young man, and maybe you're thinking, well, I don't have all the experience some of these older guys do. You don't want to tell the world, but in your own mind, you're thinking that, right? I don't have all their experience. I don't have a PhD, whatever the story is about your limiting damn beliefs. And then along comes Nicky Bilou, and he looks at you and he goes, John, you can do anything those damn PhDs can do, and even better.
Yeah.
You can do it. I believe in you, and I'm going to show you how. We're going to lock arms together. You imagine how strongly that would make you feel. That will lift your spirits. That will lift your soul. Make you feel, sit a little straighter, stand a little taller, wake up a few minutes earlier. All those things. That's why Danny went from 1,200 to 100,000. That's the power of having a dialed-in message.
Yeah.
And coming from your heart, not from how much money do I want to make, what's in it for me.
It's something that's so hard because, like, with younger people, it's like they get into that they chase a little bit of money and they see a little, especially a little bit of consistency, and it's like, well, this is it. I got the one. This is it. And then it's like they start heading down that lane, and as you said, it's like knowing that it's not for the money. I've been talking to a lot of people because, as I said, my first ever like tribe that I ever found was all realtors, and I said I'm very active in there, and so for them, When they found out that I'm not doing real estate anymore, really, and I'm just mainly focused on growing the podcast, a lot of them were so worried. And they're like, a couple of them told me, like, John, how much is your average, price in your area? I was like, oh, about 800,000. It's like, okay, so at 3%, you'll probably make close to like 24 to 27,000 per house you sell. And I was like, yeah, you're right. That's gross. So take home would probably be close to like 17,000 after commissions and all that jazz. And so it's like, I could make that per house that I sell, but knowing that I would solely be doing it for the money. And to me, that much money is more than double what I make a year now, right? So it's like after one check, I'll be able to make more money that I'd make in 2 years, pretty much, essentially off of selling at one average house. But it's like in the short term, I would make a lot more money, but in the long term, I would be less fulfilled because I know that if I were to try to focus on selling real estate, it would solely be for that commission check. And knowing that and being comfortable enough to say that the money will come, I don't want to focus on that because I know I can't fully serve or properly serve someone in real estate unless they were probably like my best friend. Because if you're just a stranger and you need to buy a house, I'm over here trying to do my podcast stuff and get into speaking, and then it's like in the back of my head, I'll always be thinking about the podcast, and they need a roof to put on over their head. So it's like I'm just gonna refer everything out, and then pretty much just focus solely on growing my podcast. That's what truly fulfills me. That's what truly gets me up and going. That's what gets excited. It's gets me hungry, and knowing that my audience that I've been called to serve needs me here, not out there selling houses. So in the short term, I was like, screw it, I'll put that on the back burner. I'm gonna solely focus on this because once this really takes off to where I envision it to go, like this is gonna turn from just a weekly episode into its own movement. And then I'm gonna have my own thing going when I'm serving, aspiring young entrepreneurs that are trying to really get it off the ground and get off that traditional road, and being okay with like saying no to the money in the short term and not being like the donkey who chasing the carrot on the stick, knowing that I'll never catch it. It's like, no, I'm going to take a different path. I'm going to diverge into my own lane because the vision that God has given me isn't the vision that He's given them. This is why they can't see where I'm going. So it's like, and just staying focused and doubling down on that.
Yeah. Well, from myself, I tell people if you're going after a dream, go for it. But make sure that you pay the bills and turn on the lights.
Yeah, I'm still at the restaurant on the side right now. Still on the restaurant on the side.
Okay.
So that's keeping me afloat, and I keep my expenses relatively low with my grandparents. I live with them, so it's like fortunately I've been blessed where I don't have to take care of too many responsibilities. I still pay my the majority portion of my rent. They got my car and stuff like that. They got my cat. Got to take care of my cat. Got to make sure he eats right. But it's like being okay in the uncomfortable and unknown. And it's one thing I've been talking about on other podcasts, but it's like to talk about it here. It's like I feel like when you have your mind on so many different things, your blessings spread thin. But when you funnel all of it into one thing, you have a one sole focus. All your blessings get funneled into that one sole focus as well. So the podcast this year has been doing a lot better. I've been opening up opportunities to speak. I just spoke at a conference a couple weeks ago from the time we're recording this. It was like it's opening doors, and it's like but it took that focus, it took that doubling down, as you said, it took that niching down, that getting narrower for me to finally start seeing results. So I kind of want to ask you, right? Because the Miss America answer, I like to call it, I help any and everyone. It sounds like morally good to say, right? But from a business standpoint, a marketing standpoint, that's the complete opposite that you want to do, right? So it's like, Danny happened to stumble across Papito, right? But for anyone who doesn't have that papito in their life, how do we start narrowing down so that we can really focus on the audience that we're called to serve and not just on the check?
Well, it's a great question. And if you own a business and you want to try to figure that out, you got to look at three things. First of all, you got to look at your past. Who have you already served? Who is it that you've already served? Is there someone that you have loved to serve? Is there somebody you have made money from serving, like they pay well? Is there someone you've done a lot for from serving them? You got to see where those circles intersect. And if it's somebody who meets all three of those criteria, then that's who you need to go after. I know who I have affinity for. I have affinity for entrepreneurs. I know who I want to be of service to. I want to be of service to people who are going through a journey that I've gone through. That's a journey of growth, of success, of victory.
Hmm.
That to me is what works, right? And if someone's here trying to figure out which way is up, you got to hire mentors. You got to hire coaches. Robin Sharma, who was a client of mine, author of the legendary book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari and the Leader Who Had No Title, The 5 a.m. Club. These are multi-million selling books. Robin, he comes to me one day and he says to me, Nicky, you want to double your income this year? Triple your investment in personal and professional development. Hire the coaches. Join the peer groups. Attend the conferences. Buy the courses and read the books. And he's right. There was a woman who came to me. She was a coach. She worked with people and she was hiring all the wrong mentors. She spent $125,000 on mentorship with zero return. Zero return. You think about that. And then she comes to me because someone told her this guy's for real. And she comes, okay, I'm going to work with you. But this better work. This better work. I'm like, it'll work. It'll work. I was a little nervous, but I'm like, damn, she's like serious. But I knew what she was doing wrong. She was trying to go after too many of the same people. We narrowed her focus. She was undercharging. We took her fees up. And she went from $2,000 a month to $20,000 a month like that. That's a 10-fold increase, bro. That's adding a zero because she worked with the right people that gave her mentorship. You cannot do this alone. You need mentors.
Yeah.
You must be willing to invest in yourself if you're going to be successful. If you want to be successful, you got to have 4 powerful characteristics, John. And these 4, when we go through them, man, that'll be a great wrap up to the show because these 4 are going to rock it for you, man. First of all, you must be decisive. You got to make a decision that this is it. You're going to do this. Decide comes from the Latin word side, which means to kill off. Decide, suicide, regicide, homicide, genocide, all about killing things off. Decide is kill off the alternative. So make a decision. Okay? You can't be, I'll try it, I'm in, I'm out. No, all in. Right? If you decide, you're in love with a woman, you're going to marry her, you're going to make love to her, you can't go, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. No, man, you're either going to do it or you're not. She's either the one or she isn't. Right? And this is it. This is either the business or it isn't. No messing around. All right? Secondly, commit. You got to be willing to be a disaster before you're a master. You must be willing to suck first. And then you got to be willing to be bad and to be mediocre. And then you need to be, before you're like mediocre, you got to be willing to be average. And when you're average, you got to be willing to be average until you're good. And when you're good, you got to be willing to be good until you're a master. That's commitment. Thirdly, you got to be coachable. We talked about this. You got to be coachable. You got to have the coaches and mentors. All these are important. Fourthly, brother, you've got to be resourceful. You've got to be resourceful. There's no other way. Someone comes to me and goes, Nicky, I love what you're doing, but I don't have the money. Okay. I say bullshit, right? That's not true. You just don't see a way to win, and your fear is keeping you broke. All right. So a few years ago, I was going through a divorce and I was spiraling. I was sleeping on my mother's couch, grown ass man with kids, sleeping on his mother's couch, not good. And I went to a conference. I heard a man do a talk. It spoke to me, spoke to my soul. I walked over to him, introduced myself, and I said, let me tell you my story. I told him my story. And then I said to him, I think I need to hire you. He goes, all right. I charge $5,000 minimum in advance, no refunds, no guarantees. I don't have that kind of money. He said, okay, I'm going to give you some free coaching. Okay, free coaching. Yeah, give it to me. Doesn't matter how much money you have. I thought that's all that mattered. You want $5,000 from me. Without that, we're not going to work. No. What matters is how bad do you want change? How bad do you want change? You're a grown-ass man. You're not seeing your kids. You're sleeping on your mother's couch and you're broke. How much longer do you want this situation to continue? I didn't want this situation to continue at all. I wanted it to be over. You understand? Over. And as a result, I said to him, okay, give me a couple days. I walk over to my car and I go home with some urgency. I call some people. I'm a fitness coach then too. Call them up. There were 2 guys who hadn't said yes, hadn't said no. So I called him up. I said, hey, I got good news. You're fat and you need to lose weight. And I'm broke and I need to make money. I'm going to give you the deal of a lifetime, half price. They said, okay. Took the cash from me. I mean, I took the cash from them. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
$1,000 each. Went to see this fellow. Please, this punch. I give him $2,000. I go, here you go. I said 5, not 2. He says to me, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. How many people, I ask him, did you tell this story to that you told me the other day? He said, oh, 30 to 40 people over the years. I'm like, wow. Besides me, who else came to you with any money? Oh, you're the first, Nicky. I'm the first. You're the first. I'm the first. You are the first. I'm like, take my money, good faith. I'll sign a contract. I'll pay you the less than 30, 60 days, whatever the case may be. He agreed. He could see that I had the fire. Within 6 months, bro, I made $100,000 and I paid him off early because I was resourceful. Didn't matter how many resources I had, I was resourceful. Tony Robbins says it doesn't matter what level of resources you have. How resourceful can you be? How bad do you want change? If someone's listening to this, how bad do you want change? Are you a pussy? Are you going to sit there and declare how badly you want life to be different and do nothing? Or are you a man with big balls or a woman with big ovaries and you're going to step forward and say, yo, I want it now and I'm ready to act? I only work with people who have those 4 qualities. I only work with people who understand that I'm the man, I got the wisdom, I'm going to get them out of this situation, but they must do the work. I only work with people who are ready to accept that they need to have a better message, they need to learn how to sell without selling. I only work with those people. But the people I work with, they get rich. They get rich, Johnny, they get rich, 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 rich. Because I like making people money and I'm amazing at it.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is Nicky Bilou. Wrapping it up.
Man, Nicky, you dropped a lot of nuggets this episode. Where can we connect with you? Where can we find you at if you wanted to, anyone wanted to get in touch with you or find you?
Well, Nicky Bilou, if you go to DuckDuckGo or Brave or Firefox or any of those browsers, all you got to do is you got to just type in Nicky Bilou and I'll show up everywhere. But if you're a business owner and you want to have a business call, then you go to my main website, ecircleacademy.com/appointment. That gets you my calendar. It has you fill out a form where I screen you out, make sure you're a real businessman or businesswoman. And once you've done that, we'll have a conversation. We'll take a look. We'll see where your mindset's at. We'll see where you're strong, where you're weak. We'll help you have a blueprint to take you from strong to weak and take you from tragic to magic in your business. Add that 2 zeros to your annual income. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me. And if you're a book reader, you go to Amazon and you type in my name and you buy my book list.
Amazing. So now it's time for our famous 5 questions we ask every single guest before we wrap up the show here. Question number 1. What is the most impactful lesson you've learned in life?
The most impactful lesson I learned in life is it's all up to me.
What is the most admirable trait a person can have?
Loyalty and honesty.
If you had to change someone's life with one book, not including your own, which book would it be?
Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand.
What is the legacy that you're trying to leave behind?
1 billion millionaires, brother.
And if someone wanted to start their walk to wealth today, what is the first step they need to take in order to embark on their journey?
Decide.
Amen. Alrighty, Nicky, that's our time here today. Thanks again for hopping on the show. Thanks for dropping the nuggets that you did, man. It was a pleasure.
It was fun. Thank you much.